Hi everyone. I will now present our work on deep reinforcement learning for coordinated payload transport in biped-wheeled robots. Now looking at the conventional differential drive robots, they are great in controlled warehouses, but they struggle with varying payload sizes and uneven terrain. Biped-wheeled robots, by contrast, can adjust their stance and height, can offer roll and pitch, which improves stability and can also extend into diverse environments that has rough terrains as well. This flexibility motivated our study to conduct a multi-robot coordination task, which is one of the contribution over here. In this research, we use two robots for achieving the payload transport task. Then we use only a single agent that achieves the desired task. The agent is also robust against initial conditions and configurations. Additionally, the impact of this research can be extended to disaster response and human-robot collaboration. Now, talking about this payload transport task using multiple biped-wheeled robots, the main challenge is that the robot payload contact point shifts dynamically, making friction hard to model and rendering classic control methods ineffective. End-to-end DRL also struggles. It must learn every implicit mapping from scratch and is sample inefficient. To address this, we propose a hybrid DRL or a kinematic model integrated learning approach that directly outputs two sets of actions. First, as shown over here, is the ego robot's body frame twist, and second is the relative twist of the follower robot with respect to the ego robot, which is then converted into its body twist commands via adjoint transformations. Talking about the simulation experimental setup, to define the observation space of our agent, which is 19 variable observation space, we have inter-robot distance, cross-track and heading errors, last action, and 2D relative poses. Talking about the reward formulation, it penalizes cross-track and heading errors exponentially and heavily penalizes collisions. We train in a parallelized simulation setting that has 4096 instances, and the compute power used for this experiment is shown. For evaluation, we tested on three path types. The one that it was trained on, which was a sinusoidal and a straight path. Then the two unseen paths that had sparse waypoints and a dense variable curvature path. In order to achieve zero-shot transfer, we first randomized payload mass, size, and friction coefficients, and also added Gaussian noise to observations and actions. Now, talking about the real-world workflow, in the lab, 12 OptiTrack cameras provide state estimates, and ROS relays our DRL actions to both the robots. We evaluated two different types of payloads, that is medium and heavy, on straight, curved, and sinusoidal courses. That's shown over here. Both of them have different curvatures to test the agent in varying conditions. Talking about the learning results, in both seen and unseen payload trials, our policy succeeded on all test paths without real-world fine-tuning. We kept the cross-track error under 0.5 meters and heading error below 0.2 radians on average. Some of the key observations is that a small sim-to-real gap appeared in cross-track error, mainly due to the bump test, which was not considered during training. And one thing to note is that the robot's height and its own stability is maintained by the internal controllers. Our future work involves the agent to output additional actions that also maintains the robot's internal stability also. Now, the other observation is that a very high sim-to-real gap is seen for heading angle error especially. This is mainly due to a significant relative motion between the payload and the robot top plate surface, which is challenging for the agent to learn. However, it is still able to handle unseen disturbances in the form of bumps, and our future work will look to address these issues. Talking about the current limitations is that the agent is highly sensitive to OptiTrack measurements, which is a very high accuracy motion capture system, and also it is challenging to learn the payload and robot surface characteristics. Our future work will involve some additional design considerations to hold the payload. Thank you for listening to the presentation. Additional details can be found in the project website, the QR code is given.